Hi everyone, it's Luke here and welcome back to another video. You join me today here in central London for an extra special episode of Garage Goals, and I'm joined by none other than Tim from Shmee150.
Hi guys, I'm Shmee.
Gotta be done.
Has to.
We're joined with your extensive car collection, which is arguably one of the most famous online, as I'm sure you guys will agree, especially with the recent arrival of the Senna and the Ford GT. So I think let's spin this camera around and go take a look.
Welcome to the garage then, or rather my corner of a private supercar storage, but here we have some of the cars all lined up. 5 of mine, plus Bending Ben's Mustang at the end. But basically we've got my 675 LT Spider, Aston Vantage Gt8, the 2 new arrivals, as you said, the Ford GT and the Mclaren Senna, and then what's basically been my daily driver for most of the last year, the Amg Gt R, with some upgrades from Rentec. So, should we take a look around?
Let's do it.
Start off at the beginning. I guess we should go in line pretty much.
Yeah, let's do it.
675 LT Spider. Actually, the oldest car of the 7 I currently own, because I also have 2 Focus RSs. One of which is the Heritage Edition, which is currently over at my place in Germany. The other is my Red Edition, which is at Mount June, having the engine redone, which is very nearly finished. There's also seems to be another car, but that will be on my channel.
We won't say about that.
We won't talk too much about that right now. So the 675 LT Spider is actually coming up for about 3 years old. I had the Coupe before, then the Spider. It's an MSO paint job. We created the paint ourselves, which was really fun. Called it Orion Purple, MSO Orion Purple, and put some silver pinstripes on it as well. This car, I've done about, in total, around 12,000 miles on it. So it's had some good outings. It's been around Spa a few times, Nordschleife, Nürburgring GP, done a VMAX run down the Autobahn to 324 kilometers per hour, if I remember correctly.
Crikey.
Just over 200 miles an hour, 202 miles per hour maybe. Literally on the limiter. It wasn't going any higher. It was going down, up, down, up, down, up.
No way.
Flat out. I think I worked out that in the space of 1 minute, that was covering 10 kilometers. Yeah, terrifying.
But anyway, 12,000 miles on one of those is impressive.
12,000 miles on an LT is up there. There are some that have done more for sure.
Yeah.
Some of the press cars have done like 30,000, but definitely up there with the cars that have done just about as many as any. Of course, it was heavily skewed to the beginning. When I got the car, literally in the first month, I took it to the ring and then to the on a road trip I did with some of my cars and some of the guys who work on the videos with me. We went down to Bosnia and Montenegro and the most amazing time with that. LT Spider I see as a keeper. These are basically, the first couple of cars here are all what I call like my permanent car collection, the ones that I'm going to keep hold of because of the story, the experiences, the memories, the moments I've had with them, what they mean to me, and you just build up that attachment. So
for sure.
It's my dream to grow a car collection, and that's really, I think, basically where it began. And it's things like 1,000 kilometer run-in on an LT. The moment I hit 1,000 kilometers, I was on the Autobahn as it hit 1,000.
Really?
By 1,001, I was going over 300 Ks.
That's how you do
That's
it.
like literally, it was flat out. I was waiting like 999.9 because it gives you the to 10.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
And literally 1,000.
Drop a gear and disappear.
Off we go. I keep it on the Trofeo Rs. I used to swap it to P0 tyres over winter so that it was more usable, but I think at this kind of level it's more reach. The cars go out for events or occasions or road trips or specific purposes. So 675 LT Spider, roof down as much as possible. We move on then to the Aston Vantage Gt8, a very funny car that gets a mixed reaction and response in terms of what people think about it, because it's clearly, well, it was the last of that generation of Vantage before they joined with Daimler and had the new engines, so it's a naturally aspirated 4.7 V8, makes a whole lot of noise. Titanium exhaust just sounds
Oh, they sound amazing. Is that the only naturally aspirated car in the collection?
It is. I'm normally a big fan of turbos. It's the only NA car for the moment.
Hint number 2.
See what we did there. Again, spec'd it completely uniquely. Cobalt blue paintwork, Gulf orange accents. It is the only one in that exact colour combo in the world out of the 150 of them. And Aston very kindly allowed me to make a video series of the car being built. So things like, on the metal of the chassis, I signed.
Yeah, you signed it, didn't you? Yeah, I remember watching that.
On the material on the back of the seats before they were wrapped onto the carbon buckets. Signed on the back of there. So literally, being able to be part of that and one of my favourite things was talking to the guys working on the cars.
Oh,
of course,
wow,
I
yeah,
didn't
literally
film
building it.
that. I filmed the car itself being built,
Sure,
but
yeah.
off camera, being able to talk and experience some of the passion of the people working in the factory was amazing.
Something you don't really,
No.
well, as a supercar
And
owner, you just don't
I
do,
was
do you?
there for 3 or 4 days, so I literally got to take in the whole thing. Why it's a silly car is it was quite expensive, and it's only 446 horsepower, so it's not that fast, which, slightly ironic, you know, why put a completely carbon fibre body? You know, this has more carbon fibre body panels than that does,
Really?
on a car that's not exactly the lightest weight thing. But I've taken it to Italy, I did a road trip through Sardinia, I went down to Rome with it. Every car here gets used in different ways. You know, that's also been around the Nordschleife, it's also been around the Nürburgring GP, trying to heel and toe while going absolutely flat out.
That's what's good though, like all of the cars are used.
Yes, and then it's 6,000 miles. Okay, it's nothing absolutely crazy, but still 6,000 miles on it isn't exactly too bad. So those two came, well, I think the GT8, well, it's just over 2 years. It's 2 years and a couple
Already?
of months now. Yeah,
Crikey.
time has absolutely flown by. I don't keep it with the extended front splitter on.
I don't blame you.
You can't really get it over speed bumps or anything if you do that. But no, it's good. We could move on then to the GT and the Senna, the latest acquisitions, the latest arrivals in the garage, but I think we should come back to those to talk about them more, talk a bit about them together. Let's go then to the Amg Gt R. Now, I absolutely love the Amg Gt R. This car, well, it's about 15 months old, maybe 16, 17 months or so by now. I've done a total of 19,000 miles. The memories with a car could not be crazier. I collected it from the Mercedes dealer and Nico Rosberg came down. Of course, he's running his own YouTube channel. I went straight away and drove it around in the snow, had a lot of misbehavior with some winter tires on the car. It's done Nordschleife laps galore. It's done, well, I've had it up to, on the GPS, 335 kilometers an hour, 208 miles per hour.
Was that before the Rentec?
No, that's of course with the Rentec upgrades. That's what we should talk about. So, stock car is 585 horsepower and 700 Newton meters from the 4-litre twin-turbo V8. This is up from 585 to 760, thanks to new turbos, new downpipe, blow-off valve, ECU, and 800 Newton meters.
Which is bonkers.
Yeah, it's nearly 200 horsepower more and 100 Newton meters of torque more. That's kind of the limit where the gearbox can handle before you have to do more. The thing I haven't done, which is arguably a little bit foolish, is upgrade the brakes. It's on the standard steel brakes. But for the Autobahn, this is just about perfect. If you do a lap of the Nordschleife, the brakes are a bit floppy by the end. But I've kind of done this, and now the Amg Gt R Pro is hopefully around the corner. I need to still secure an allocation for one of those. Fingers crossed, please, Mercedes. But obviously, I'd love to change it up. But I drive the car all the time. It's basically been my daily driver. I've taken it to IKEA. I've bought a 2-meter bookcase with the thing because it has a decent amount of luggage
That's the thing,
space.
it's quite a practical car.
It goes all the way straight through. The seating position for me is great. Bucket seats, but they're really, really comfortable. They've facelifted the car now, so it's got a new headlight design, slightly new shape to it, and the new technology on the interior. The facelift is out. They've also made the Roadster, which I'm really keen on as well. It's wrapped, it's a black car. When we picked it up, it was the Beast of the Black Hell, nicknamed. But then we got this vinyl wrap, which they actually stopped production of, like years ago. We managed to find the last bit of it that was still available, and it's basically the same colour as the Solar Beam paintwork, which at the time I ordered the car was an £11,000 option on top of the black paint, and I knew that I was going to be piling on the miles with this car, I knew that when the sale time came, it was probably going to be the cheapest GTR on the market, so there's no point in being extravagant with extra options in that situation.
I mean, just looking at it from here, it doesn't look like a wrap, to be fair.
I mean, wraps are never paint.
Yeah.
It's never got the same finish, but it does give you the option of extra protection. It's PPF and then wrapped on top. Complicated, because I ran it flat for 6 months, of course. We wrapped it just in time for the Goodwood Festival of Speed, and then Gumball like a month later. So,
oh yeah, that did Gumball, didn't it?
Yeah, so that's done Gumball, it's done Mille Miglia. That's actually, not many cars do both of those.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
Official support team for Mille Miglia when I was driving a 300 SL. The guys were driving in this, chasing with the luggage and cameras. Yeah,
it gets about a bit.
Literally, I mean, 19,000 miles in just over a year. It's done everything.
I mean, not many daily cars do that, like everyday
exactly.
cars.
Well, the average daily driver for a normal car is like 10 to 12,000 miles a year in the UK. So to have done...
That's an achievement.
To have done that is quite nuts. Then we get to these two. The GT, I should look that way for the GT, not the Senna. The GT and the Senna. I don't really know where we should begin talking about these two. Two cars that, well, amusingly, I ordered them both about 3 years before they came. In the case of the GT, it was submitting the application online. In the case of the Senna, it was sending a letter of intent to the McLaren dealer. 3 years later, they actually turned up, and my collection days, I kid you not, were one night apart. There were adjacent days. So I collected the GT, got back here, parked it up at about 9 PM at night. At 9 AM the next morning, it was off to McLaren to get the Senna.
I can imagine that's a little bit
It
frustrating.
was fun, it was amazing, but it was quite a logistical challenge to make the videos for my my channel. A logistical challenge to make the videos for my channel, but also just dealing with everything, paperwork, insurance, funding, paying for them. Nightmare, absolute nightmare, but it happened.
I mean, they look amazing sat there next to each other.
Well, they're two cars with a very similar ethos, of course, brutal track performance in a road legalized car, but they do it in really different ways, which has been quite interesting getting to know them. And I say getting to know them, it is early days. With the time of year, I don't really plan to be around the UK much in winter and early spring, because normally the weather's rubbish and there aren't many events or anything. So I haven't been here much, which has meant I haven't really been able to drive them much. And of course, getting the PPF installed, because all 5 of these cars have Topaz PPF on them. Getting that done, it all just takes a bit of time. So, I mean, let's kick off with the GT, right? It's the road car of the Le Mans winner, of the 2016 50th anniversary return by Ford to Le Mans of their iconic GT40 victory with an all-new car that until they showed it, nobody even knew they were developing. They literally went, bang, here's our new car, which isn't something that gets done anymore. He's still got features that are reminiscent of the old car. It's spectacularly low, and this isn't even in track mode.
Very low.
It's also very wide. It's a funny project because it's built by Multimatic, who are effectively a race team rather than a normal traditional factory. So things are done in different ways, which I love because it's more personal, it's more of an experience, but looks-wise, it's one of the best-looking cars you can
it looks crazy.
We literally have Beauty and the Beast here.
Yeah.
We'll get to the Beast in a second. This is the Beauty. The paint is liquid red, it's triple layer metallic dark red, and those who follow my channel will know the story of the stripes. It's Alan Mann Racing Gold, paint matched to the Alan Mann Racing GT40's of the 1960s.
Which is very special.
Which is the fact that the guys, sadly Alan Mann's no longer with us himself, but his sons were kindly allowed me to literally use their paint code. And I love a story with a car. And it's interesting seeing these two together. Blue and orange is of course reminiscent of a fairly famous race livery, the Golf livery, but the accent colour is the exact Golf orange, with the body being my own tweak on a more modern Aston colour, cobalt blue, which they launched on the V8 Vantage S. In the case of the GT, it's the same. It's a play on the Alan Mann Racing red and gold, but with the liquid red, which Ford launched on the GT, with the accent colour in the traditional colour. So, I mean, both of these are Le Mans winners, let's not forget.
That's very true.
The GT8 was the Le Mans winner 2017, the GT was the winner in 2016. Both have crazy racing stories and success. So, I love that connection, especially when it's a car you intend to keep, to make it, as special as you can. It's things like you just look at the aerodynamic profile of the GT and it's all absolutely crazy.
Some of the angles, like straight down through there, you can literally see through the car.
Through the back of it.
Oh, and then the wheels. We need to touch on the wheels.
Well, the new wheels. Again, more story. The wheels are the BBS FIR wheel that they've actually launched for the road car. It's the wheel that's worn on the GTLM race car.
Really? That's the same wheel?
So they made a limited run set through Interkinetic in the US, who commissioned it through BBS, to make a set of the race car wheels for the road car.
Wow.
So it's even more like, for me, this car is just like, pile in the story, let's do it. Yeah. Everywhere I can. There's loads of talk about the engine. You probably know it's a 3.5 litre EcoBoost V6. I can tell you it's not very economical. Sorry, Ford. It drinks like you wouldn't believe and has a tiny fuel tank.
I can imagine it does.
But it's alive. It's a really cool feel. It's just different. It's just, it feels like a race car to drive. It feels like something that, okay, these are great. These are road cars converted and made more hardcore, right? The 675 LT is a hardcore car. But this just drives in a different way. It feels so much more like the original race car, because it is, in terms of the suspension, the chassis, the engine. They haven't engineered a road car and made it into a GTE class race car. They built the GTE race car and said, what's the bare minimum we need to do to stick a number plate on it?
Interesting.
And that's the result. And you get that sense. What's perhaps strange is the suspension. I mean, the track mode, when it just kind of drops straight down to the floor, the suspension is so clever that it's actually really quite compliant to drive on the roads, particularly here in the UK where we have very bumpy and uncomfortable roads.
Very bumpy.
It soaks it up really well.
Really?
Really well.
And then when you want to put the lift system up, it's instant, isn't it?
Yeah, and the lift system, it's quite fun to play with that. So the GT sits alongside its stablemate in the form of the Senna. Now I think, from beauty to the beast, I don't think anybody's going to stand here and say that the McLaren Senna is a particularly good-looking car, because it is very much form follows function. It's brutal performance, and I saw that recently at a track day that Topaz organised. The Senna was so fast compared to
I watched that
else
video
was
actually,
around.
like 4 seconds quicker, wasn't it?
4 or 5 seconds quicker than an SVJ on a 1 minute lap. And the SVJ is of course the ring, ring, that record holder. Of course, on Trofeo and the SVJ was on coursers. Let's not go into all of that, but a very, 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 very fast thing. It's McLaren's second Ultimate Series car after the P1, but with a very different style. You know, the P1 was about bringing hybridization and technology. This is about bringing aerodynamics and ultimate performance, and it weighs less than 1,200 kilos, yet still has 800 kilos of downforce with the wing, the active aero flaps, and the 4-litre twin-turbo V8, 800 horsepower, 800 newton meters, and it's ludicrously fast. But what's interesting to drive it is how many vibrations you feel, the noises, it's very firm. It's as an occasion, I've not experienced anything like it. You want to just go out to drive something that really kind of wakes you up, that. You need to concentrate. The steering's super twitchy, the pedal feels as well. Of course, the colours, everybody on my channel knows good old MSO cerulean blue.
Good old cerulean blue.
Yeah, one of my favourite colours, well, my favourite colour, I think I can say. So it was always going to be the way. In fact, back 3 years ago when I sent in my letter of intent for codename P15, an Ultimate Series car focused for the track, it was very much, this is the car I'd like, oh, and by the way, can I have it cerulean blue? Was that,
by any chance, when you had your LT Coupe?
Yes, yeah.
There you go.
Because there was all this talk about, I should have got the LT Spider in that colour.
Yeah.
But I knew that was coming.
Ah, I see.
It's
Clever.
a long story, it's been a long
Planning
day.
ahead.
And then, of course, the touch that was a bit of a gamble that's turned out really well was adding the blue tinted carbon.
Like all over.
Which they've actually, since I did this spec, released the 720S Pacific theme in cerulean blue with blue carbon.
Really? I haven't seen that yet.
Special MSO design, which is the exact colours I went for.
They should have called it the Shmee Special.
Yeah. I went a bit to town with MSO options. It gets dangerously expensive very quickly. Things like carbon end plates on the wing, carbon roof snorkel, carbon aero blades at the front, of course the tinted carbon, the cerulean blue paint, the cerulean blue centre locks, silver brake calipers, touches on the interior, the stitching, the 12 o'clock stripe on the steering wheel, a nice little spot of colour that you see looking in. When it's a car like this, you need to make it perfect.
You got to, haven't you?
You end up just kind of wanting to add everything to it. And I think, talking about it being a bit of a beast, if I say so myself, it's probably at the pretty end of Senna specs.
No, definitely. I've seen about 10 or 15 of them personally.
It's possible to get it really wrong, and this has come out, I'm very happy.
No, genuinely, this is the first time I've seen the car, and it does look really nice, especially with that carbon.
So what we have here then are, I guess, 5 cars in very different colours, very different specs, very different stories. I clearly have a thing for both V8s and twin turbocharged engines at the moment. Definitely
addicted to buying cars.
I like the stories as well, like even with the number plates, there's a reason behind every number plate.
Yep.
SHME for Shmee, of course. 66, the 1966 victory. 16 on the Gt8. It was the winner of the World Endurance Championship in 2016. So the Le Mans winner in 2017, but it won the WEC GTE class in 2016. The LT actually has the 15 plate because, well, 15, 150, Shmee150, the first car in my permanent collection. But those two are currently sitting on tyre cushions as well because they don't get driven all that much, to be completely honest. It's a bit of a collection thing. I'm a hoarder, I love to keep them. I'm not going to lie. The 12 on the Senna, this is something I nearly missed. And I was like, what number plate can go on the Senna? And I finally worked out that Ayrton Senna, in his first year for McLaren, as he had driven with teams before, had the number 12 on his Formula 1 car. Of course, when he won the first championship, as happened back in the day, the following year you had number 1.
Yeah, of course.
That doesn't happen anymore, so you see all the pictures of the car with number 1. but in his first championship year, he was number 12. So as soon as I worked that out, I was like, right,
Yeah, that's
the
going
car
on.
is named after Ayrton, it's having number 12.
Yeah.
And then 67 on the GTR is AMG was founded in 1967. So
There's all a story behind them all, and that's what I
Yeah.
like.
the same with the Heritage Focus RS is 68.
Yep.
It pays tribute back to the 1968 Escort Mark 1. And my red Focus is the tedious link. It's 13 because it's 1 in 300 cars. That's the best I can do. But it's not, you know.
There's not enough plates.
No. Well, I mean, I've got a stash of them. I've got an absolute stash of these number plates now.
Imagine.
Ready for different cars in the future, including. Well, I'm not going to get to it.
we shall pause it there.
Yeah, we should pause this again at that one. But
I mean,
yeah.
just that view.
I feel very, very lucky to have these cars and to get to experience them and share them through my videos and invite the likes of yourself to come and have a look at them.
I feel very lucky to be here, to be fair. So thank you very much.
My
It's
pleasure,
been
my complete pleasure.
it's been an honour.
They were built to be driven and used.
And that's exactly what you're doing.
Yeah, that's the plan. This is a bit of a surprise. How do you get in? How do you get in? You delicately, yeah, you did all right. You did all right.
Graceful.
So we're in the Senna.
We are in the Senna.
Welcome to the land of vibration and noises.
Yes,
You hear all the
very
electrical noises.
Yeah,
It's almost. It feels like it's a hybrid.
it does actually, doesn't
It's
it?
not.
Well, yeah.
It's definitely not. There's a you got it. Handle under the
handle.
door. Pull those down. Soft close.
I love those strut bars.
Yeah, nice little touches. So this car, we talked about the mileage of everything else.
Apart from this.
At the moment, 283, which is basically new.
Yeah.
It's
Still quite high
literally
mileage for
new.
a Senna, to be fair.
Yeah, probably more than half of them.
Yeah.
But this is early days. But I need to get some running mileage done before I end up taking the thing around the Nordschleife or something quite soon.
Yes.
But here we are. Welcome. It's snug.
It is
It
very
vibrates a lot.
It does actually.
But let's take it on out.
Let's do it. So here we are then, in the Senna. My first time in a Senna, obviously. And first impressions, it's very loud in here.
It's noisy, it's vibration-y, and I can tell you from the videos that I film with the car, we have to talk loudly.
Yeah,
otherwise these guys can't hear us at all.
Very loud.
Yeah, so apologies for that in advance, but just to give you a small sense of this, listen to all the swooshes, the whistles from above us. So obviously we've got a roof snorkel right above us, which creates all the air kind of sucking in over the top of you.
It is a spaceship, isn't it? Because I mean, the start button's up there, you've got the door handles.
And the windows, the tiny little windows.
Oh yeah.
That just lower those little pieces.
It's
Glass
such a
on either
special car
side.
though. No matter what people think of it, it's a special car.
It's it's the event, you know, that's what we were just saying. You get in this car and you're aware that it's something special immediately.
I mean, you look in that rearview mirror and you just see wing. That's what.
Yeah, you just see wing. Well, I don't even see the wing. I see under the wing. In the rearview mirror, you literally don't see the wing at all.
That's
you just see
how big it is.
straight underneath it. So what else do you have? You've got the glass doors.
Yeah, that's
Those are pretty
very
cool.
strange.
The way you're
Very
looking
strange.
down at the painted lines out the side of the car or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
The mirrors are kind of, with the way the aero works, they look like they're hanging outside the car, and you're like, how do they get there?
Yeah, and that lip on the front wing, you don't realise how big it is and how prominent it is until you're inside it.
But I tell you one thing, it's not as low as it looks.
Oh really?
I've not yet, I mean, okay, 286 miles now, I've not yet hit the ground ever at all.
Interesting. Well, that's good. I'm glad.
Yeah, and it has a lift system that goes about 8 centimetres up,
which is very
which
good.
is also
as well.
a lot. But yeah, not much else really inside here, is there? There's
No.
some rubber mats to stop your stuff sliding around, but that's about it. And then
It is bonkers, isn't it?
I'm just a kid. The thing is, I can't wait to get some more of this running mileage done and be able to actually drive this thing hard. I mean, you can't even scratch the surface of what this car can do.
Yeah.
And we've got a Morgan coming past.
It's quite cool.
I'm going slowly just so you can see the Morgan. There he comes. Now how's that for polar opposite cars? That is literally like one made from wood in an old factory, one that's like technology and engineering in the latest possible way. You've got all sorts of stuff, you know, your truck telemetry, look, it shows you the throttle press, the brake, temperatures, everything. You can fold the dashboard, you know about that?
Yeah.
Flippy dashboard.
That's
which is, I don't even know why, but yeah, why not? Because you can.
Why not? Yeah.
There's a lot of this car that's kind of why, but
I think this is probably a good time to ask you a few little questions, mainly about some of, well, obviously you've got some cars on order, some of which we know about,
some of which we don't.
Can you, because there's so many, can you remind me which ones you're allowed to talk about?
Well, allowed is purely self-imposed, of course. So the next car on the horizon, other than the one we're teasing right now, and there's one more after that I've not talked about yet, but I have alluded roughly to, but loosely. Then there's the Amg G63 G-Wagon. In the same colours as this.
Which is going to look super cool.
With topaz skin, that's going to be quite fun to tow this on the trailer behind a G-Wagon in a matching colour. That's good. So there's the G. Later this year, the new Supra. I love the idea of the new Supra. I'm not yet sure how extreme I'm going to go with the modding of it, but that's on the cards. I announced that I applied for the GTR Pro. We talked about that earlier. The TBR Griffith. Hopefully that's eventually going to come. Obviously they've got a lot of hurdles to kind of get through as a new company. I'm very keen on a GTR Roadster. I've said that as well. I'm not quite sure in my mind how GTR Roadster and GTR Pro. Oh look, 812. Ooh, HR owns demo car. Very nice. Very, very nice. So that's what's
I've lost count
now.
already.
Yeah, me too. I think there might be another 2 that I haven't mentioned yet for this year. Maybe. Or 3. Or 4. I don't know. I've got a list.
That's ridiculous.
Well, I'm a car guy, right? And I also like different experiences. I like going from the Senna to the Focus RS, to the Supra, to just completely different types of cars.
As well.
And to make videos and the different experiences and the project cars. And I think one thing I really, really am keen to do is move away from a car storage location. I mean, it's great. It's, you know, there's people there all the time. The security's good, etc., etc. It's safe. But I want like a private man cave. Your own. I visit and film, as you do now. The different collections around the world.
Cool. Some of the places which both you and I go to,
and I just have dreams for what I want to do myself. And you know, it's people will say, rightfully so, why do you need all these cars? It's stupid, and it is. I'm the first to admit that. There's no real logic behind it. It's my passion. It's what I love, and what I want to do is translate what I do through Shmee150, through the videos and the other business things that I do around it, back into, hey, here's what it achieved. Here's the car collection that you know I was fortunate enough to be able to grow over time off the back of it. So some cars, you know, come, they'll go, I'll do some mods, do some things with them, and they'll move on. Some cars will stick around. So it's different kind of cars. I have ideas in my mind for how it all plays out, and as we've kind of been talking about off camera, I've got some big stories. Like, everything is planned out so far ahead. But
believe me, well, if you're already subscribed to him, then you're obviously been living under a rock. But no, super excited to see all of that unfold, shall we say. One other thing which I was thinking about, which is actually quite interesting, it's a quite strange question actually. If you were to make one car, and this is branching out
a car,
well, like have one car out of all your cars, what engine would you have from either the looks, the colour? A bit of a funky question, I know.
Well, I mean, this is all hypothetical. One car, not a mixture of cars. Looks like the looks of the Ford GT. The colour of the Senna. And now people say, well, why didn't you order your Ford GT in the Senna colour? Well, the reason for that is I don't want 2 cars in the same colour. I like having a variety. I like the kind of rainbow Skittles effect. So that's why not that. Engine. Engine, the one that I haven't shown yet.
Oh yes, of course. That makes sense actually. I was actually going to say the GT8.
Oh, that's a nice engine. The gearbox of the GT8.
Okay, interesting.
If we can do that.
We're making a pretty funky car here, aren't we?
A Ford GT. Well, I think we could say a Ford GT with a big stonking V12 with a manual gearbox in cerulean blue.
That's a good recipe, that.
I don't think it will. Nothing like that's going to exist.
No.
The closest would always be a Valkyrie.
True.
At least it's a V12, but it's not a manual.
No, that's true. Anyway.
Why don't we rewind? Do you know? No, you know what the closest is?
Oh,
F50.
yeah, good point.
A blue F50. I'll have a blue F50.
You don't have a convertible car.
Convertible Ford GT.
Oh, now that would look good.
It would look really cool. It would never
have the
It couldn't work because the car the roof is bonded to the tub. The roof is part of the tub.
Yeah.
So it's an impossibility, but it's a nice idea.
Yeah. Well, there we go. That was a funky question.
It was a very funky question. I'm just watching out for these trucks crossing the lines.
Yeah.
Now's when we need to talk really loud.
Really loud. Good luck to you making videos on track at like what?
Yeah.
7,500 RPM.
That will be a genuine problem, having to yell at the camera. It's just the way. I mean, we obviously haven't got much temperature in the tyres or anything like that right now. In fact, the screen shows me they're all blue, which definitely means be careful. But even like this, it just hunkers.
Even the gear shifts, they kick you back, don't they?
And you can change it, of course. You can put it into the track mode.
Oh, and it will change, yeah.
And then you get inertia push, where it kind of fires you up to the next gear. You can make the suspension softer. You can change it and set it all how you want. I like sport and sport mode. Gives a nice road feel.
Yeah.
So that's how I tend to have it set up. More appropriate out on a countryside road than here.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, this bit of tarmac's quite smooth, but the car is very, very, very rough when you're on a bumpy piece of ground.
But anyway, I think that's probably going to round up the video. A huge thank you once again for allowing me to come up and, well, not only check out the cars, but experience what
Come out
as well. First time in a Senna, and well, hopefully it's not my last. It's just the experience.
It's my pleasure.
I mean, just the Gorilla Glass down here. Obviously, you guys can't see that, but it's really strange. You find yourself kind of just.
You are literally looking down at the lines on the road.
Yeah, literally. Anyway, a huge thank you to everyone who has watched this video. Hope you guys have enjoyed. If you have, then please do make sure you leave a like and make sure you subscribe for all the adventures still to come.
Cheers!
It's got to be a cheers, isn't it?